Media Center. We are now joined by Matt Kenseth, driver of number 20, Dollar General Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Matt is trying to punch his ticket to Miami in the championship for this weekend here at Phoenix. Matt, what is your mindset going into this weekend as close as the competition is to make that championship for?
You know, really not any different than any other weekend, really. I mean, our mindset when we show up is always try to qualify the best we can on Friday and, race as best we can on Sunday. So really no different this weekend. Just, try to get a car that'll run a fast lap today, hopefully get qualified good, and then tomorrow we'll get working on a race setup that hopefully is fast and drives good.
Okay, we're going to open the floor up for questions. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We're going to start with Dave and then go to Jenna and then to Jeff.
Dave Coleman, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Matt, kind of two-part thing. This place has been hit and miss for you over the years. What does history, that's happened in the past affect this weekend, whether it's the spring or a year ago or whatever? And the second part is, this is pretty much a unique place. What about it works for you, and what maybe is a little weaker for you than some other places?
Well, I've been a lot of these tracks a lot of times, so I feel like, if you dig deep enough into numbers, all the tracks have been hit and miss to a certain extent, depending on a year. So I feel like we've had some good runs here. It hasn't been our strongest track, I guess, probably the last 4 or 5 years. But in the spring we didn't run bad. Carl almost won, just came up just a little bit short there. I think Kyle was right up there. I think we were in the top 10 somewhere, 7th or something. So we didn't run bad. It hasn't been the best place for us, but I don't think it's a bad place. I think when we're on, we can be competitive here. I feel like we've been pretty competitive everywhere lately. So I don't really have a part of the track that necessarily doesn't work for me or works for me. It's just the ends are quite a bit different. It's always hard to get a really good balance in one end and still be really good in the other end. There's always a little bit of a compromise there. And the guys that are really good here, figure out how to make that compromise smaller, than the rest of the guys. So I guess that's what you always work on, is try to get, both ends the best you can.
Going to go next to Jenna, then to Jeff, then to Bob, and then to George and Tom.
Hi, Matt.
Oh, hey.
Barring, I guess, Talladega and Daytona, every race day at JGR is every man for himself, except for those two places. So in one sense, it's not any different on Sunday with the stakes for 3 of you. But how do you guys approach it the rest of the weekend?
Well, I mean, I hope not any different. I mean, I don't really think any different. I think we always, at least, since I've been there, things have changed a little bit, obviously, with the addition of Carl and that team, and then, Martin and that team. And but I think that we've worked better together as a group than anything I've ever been part of. So far, that hasn't changed at all over the 4 years that I've been there. So I wouldn't think it would change this weekend. I wouldn't think it would change next weekend. Certainly when the race starts, obviously, we're all trying to get the best finish as we can, for our respective teams. But I think during the weekend, we all, share everything we learned throughout practice, bounce ideas off each other and try to, as a group, come up with the best setups that we can for Sunday.
I guess best case scenario is 2 of you get in, and that means 1 doesn't, no matter how you look at it. Is there ever hurt feelings on Mondays or Tuesdays that you guys have to deal with that could crop up this coming week?
I kind of missed that. I'm sorry. Best case, 3 of us can make it in out of the 4. I got that. But
best case, 2 of the 3
well, one
left.
of us is already in. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the math.
Yeah.
And do you understand there's 3 of you that aren't in?
No, it's 4. Yeah.
That aren't in.
Right.
And 2 of you could get in.
I understand that.
Okay.
Which would make 3 of us in.
Okay. So anyway, since 3 of you are not in,
okay,
and only 2 of you can get in,
mm-hmm,
could there be hurt feelings or things that have to be ironed out after?
Well, I certainly can't predict what's going to happen Sunday. I mean, obviously, the goal right now, we got 1 car in, and like you said, 3 that aren't. The goal is to have 3 out of the 5 in there, next weekend. So obviously, the 3 of us, all of us want to be in there. So somebody's going to be disappointed when they leave here, and all 3 of us could be disappointed when we leave here. You never know what's going to happen Sunday. So that's just the way it is. I think out of the 8, the 4 that don't make it are going to be disappointed, whether they're on the same team or not.
Okay, we're going to go to
You're
Jeff,
welcome.
Bob, George, and then Tom.
Is your point situation going to be obvious to you during the race, or do you want them to be telling you, all right, you need this many more, or this is the situation toward the end of the race?
I think it's totally depends on the situation that you're in. I mean, I think it's totally just, I mean, if there's 5 seconds in front of you and 5 seconds behind you and there's nothing you can do about it, I don't know that it matters. But if it's like it was with Ryan Newman a couple of years ago where he needed that one spot and had to bonsai it in there to get that one spot, of course you want to know that. So I think it just depends, what the situation is at the time.
Go next to Bob.
Did you get any sense during team meetings this week that Carl and/or his team are much more relaxed than the
I
rest
can't
of
hear you, Bob. I'm sorry.
Did you get a
I
feeling,
really can't.
Did you get a feeling this week that Carl and his team are much more relaxed than yours, or do you not sense any difference?
I didn't really sense that. I can't say that, especially during the week, especially on kind of a short week, and they stayed in Texas an extra day to get all the cars ready for Phoenix and all that. That I spent a lot of time with the team. Spent my normal amount of time with Jason, but not really with the team. Spent time with other drivers, so I don't know. I mean, I didn't really pick up on that. I mean, obviously they're a little bit more relaxed, I would assume, this weekend. In a way, but yet I'm sure they're also thinking ahead to Homestead. I'm sure they're thinking about this weekend, about trying to get their car run as good as they can to try to help 2 more cars get in there, hopefully out of the organization. So I don't know that it's a lot different.
Next to George, and then to Tom.
Yeah, Matt, over here. The chase format obviously has been refined over the years, and there's never going to be a perfect format, but are you guys in the as drivers, are you pretty much okay with status quo in terms of how it's set up?
Well, I can't really speak for a whole group of drivers. The only one I could speak for is myself, and for me, I mean, whatever it is and whatever the rules are when the year starts, I'm fine with that. Everybody's got the same opportunity to make that work the best they can for them. So I'm all for whatever the fans are into. Doesn't really matter that much to me.
Hey Matt, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Is it an advantage for Joe Gibbs that they have 3 cars trying to get in, or would it be better off if you just had 1 car to worry about?
I'm really thinking about that one. I mean, the goal is you wanted to have them all in. You wanted to have four out of the 5 at Homestead, and the most you can have there is 3 now. So, obviously for him, for the organization, the more bullets you have, the better. Your chances go up of winning a championship. So, I think obviously you want as many as you can get in there.
Any additional questions for
Did
Matt?
I answer that? I hope I answered what you're asking.
I'm sure it was a very good answer. I didn't hear it.
Oh, good. All right. It was probably the best one you ever got.
Tyler Rubin, Cronkite Sports, Arizona PBS. Brian Scott made news retiring to spend more time with his family. Have you ever, as a father with young kids, has it crossed your mind?
I didn't hear a word you said except for as it crossed my mind. I'm sure it has, whatever it was. I really didn't hear you. Retirement? No, not really. I mean, I think our situations are quite a bit different, so, I'm having a really good time right now. We're competitive. I love the guys I'm working with. I wouldn't have any reason to not want to do this. It's pretty good right now.
Any additional questions? Well, Matt, thanks for joining us this morning, and
You're
good
welcome.
luck this weekend.